Hello again. Today in Pronunciation Matters, we are going to focus on a new topic. We are going on comparing Rioplatense Spanish and BBC English, focusing on the characteristics of English, of not having grapheme phoneme correspondence and being a stress-timed language. We are going to start by describing the similarities and differences between English and Spanish vowels. English vowels can be described in terms of monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs can be short or long, whereas diphthongs are long vowels. We describe the vowels in terms of the vowel chart, which is a graphical representation of the movement of the tongue within the mouth cavity. That is why we have the front of the tongue moving, the central part of the tongue or the back, and the tongue can be moving from an open position, going through half open, half closed, and reaching closed position. As regards the characteristics of English vowels, they are oral because they are produced in the mouth cavity. They are voiced because they are produced with the vibration of the vocal folds, and they are produced with free escape of air since there is no obstruction or friction in their production, and they function as the nucleus of the syllable because they are the most prominent sound in the syllable. Long vowels never occur before velar-nasal, and they can be shortened if they are in a syllable that closes in a fortis or if the following syllable is unstressed. We also describe vowels in terms of lip position, which can be rounded, neutral, or spread. Now, if we compare British English and Rioplatense Spanish vowel systems, we are going to become aware of the reason why it is very difficult for our Spanish-speaking students to acquire an accurate pronunciation of vowels in English. In this graph, we can see that Rioplatense Spanish has 5 monophthongs identified with a blue color that cover a wide area of articulation. This contrasts with the English monophthongs, which are 12 in number. We have here light blue color for English vowels, and we have the central vowels with a different color, pink, and we are going to explain why. Finch and Ortiz-Lira highlight the striking difference in number between the 12 pure English vowels and the 5 Spanish ones. And Escudero and Boersma, 2004, claimed that the most obvious effect of phonological transfer at the segmental level concerns the difficulty of perceiving the distinction between two sounds in a second language that are not in phonemic contrast in the native language. So we can see here in this graph that in the area in which we produce only one Spanish monophthongs, we end up producing 2 or even 3 English monophthongs. As regards central vowels, it is the most difficult area to teach because we don't have central vowels in Spanish, and so learners have to articulate these sounds mm, as something absolutely new. So we need to help our students to visualize what they are producing when they mistake the sound. In this case, for example, we are showing the meaning of the sentence of the phrase "round the world on a sheep." The sound is not the long monophthongs but the short one if they want to refer to the means of transport. In this case, the hut is on the sofa instead of the hat is on the sofa. If students perceive what they are actually producing, and that could bring about misunderstanding or amusement in our recipients, they will pay more attention to what they are producing. Producing sounds associated with attitudes or with funny pictures that make learning more memorable for students will help them to try to imitate the sound more accurately because they are representing the attitude of the speaker. In this case, we can play with the fact that the sound is a posh sound, and so students will produce it correctly because it's funny for them. Since central vowels are very difficult for Spanish speakers to produce because they don't exist in Spanish, we need to help them to perceive the actual position of the tongue when producing it. We are not used to using the central part of the tongue in the production of vowels. That is why, through experiential learning with the seesaw technique, we can help learners to perceive the exact place where the sound is produced. We start asking them to produce an open front vowel and start moving in the direction to close back vowel. While moving, we ask them to stop when they reach the central sound. We say, there we are, and then we go on moving until we get to the second sound. You can do it backwards as well, and that will help students to produce the sound correctly. The same can be done starting from a closed front vowel and moving in the direction to a back open vowel. The effect is the same, and students can play with that until they find exactly where to place the tongue to produce the correct sound. We are going to work with individual sounds in order to help students to identify differences, especially using minimal pairs. If we add to those minimal pairs a bit of humor, the learning will be more memorable. But what it's true is that in the classroom, what we aim at achieving is to help learners to acquire fluency because we are teaching English for communication. Besides, the use of the language for communication helps learners to acquire the rhythm of the language, which is achieved by the alternation of weak and strong sounds. So we are going to work individually to help the perception of the sound, but in order to practice the production of the sound, it is more effective if we help students to use language for communication, and in that way they are going to perceive the the effect of mistakes in the success of the message conveyance. We define diphthongs as vowel sounds consisting of an intentional glide. As a consequence, the first remarkable difference between Rioplatense Spanish and BBC English is the fact that English diphthongs fall into two categories, closing and centering diphthongs, whereas Spanish diphthongs are all closing. Um, Another difference is the fact that English diphthongs have shortened allophones before voiceless consonants or unstressed syllables, and Rioplatense Spanish does not have such an allophonic variant. Both Spanish and English diphthongs are falling because the first element is more prominent than the second one. But Spanish diphthongs are faster and tenser than the English ones. In the production of Spanish diphthongs, well, we said that we only have centering diphthongs in English. In the production of Spanish diphthongs, we are representing them here with red lines. The tongue moves towards closer position, reaching the position where the second element is produced. In English, the tongue moves in the direction of the position where the second sound is, but never reaches it. So that is a difference that we have to practice with our students. In general terms, what I suggest doing with in order to help our learners to practice is to ask them to work in groups, listing words which have the sound that we are going to help them to improve, and then ask them to compete forming sentences, the longest possible sentences using words that contain the sound. So they can use the words that they have listed in order to prepare a message which, if we want to add amusement, could be ridiculous messages, impossible messages, etc. We resort to our creativity in order to give them the rubrics of the activity. But all in all, what they are going to do is to think of words that have the sounds included. That will help them to associate spelling with pronunciation. Remember that in English we don't have grapheme phoneme correspondence. They will be producing the sounds in isolation because they are going to list words in isolation, and then when they produce the messages or the sentences, they will be using the sounds in context. It's one possible way of helping students to put vowel sounds right. Thank you very much.